Hello everyone and welcome. It's going to be a short flight in the TBM900 on FSEconomy in XP11 today. It's actually be a series of either 2 or 3 flights. I've got to do a short ferry over to the nearby airfield, get the airplane fixed, load up for passengers, and then continue on from there. So, without no further ado, let's get started. Go ahead and start the flight. We'll load the fuel. Got this little warning, okay. Yeah, the aircraft needs a little bit of maintenance before I can take passengers, so I'm just going to fly it empty. I have filled the tanks up, so I'm going to take it empty to the nearby airfield. And there we can maintain it and then load the passengers up. And close the cargo door and rear passenger door. Jump in, I can close the pilot's door. I'll go ahead and start the avionics firing up. Let them go through their little boot up sequence. Weather for departure, wind 162 at 9 knots. So if I can, I'll try taking off to the south. And there's the beeps. You can clear the warnings. Our warning is okay. Alright, go ahead and turn on the boost pump and the starter. Wait for 13% NG. There we go, introduce the fuel. Watching the ITT rise and the NG rise. Make sure it's not a hot start or a hung start. Oh, 40 NG within 30 seconds. It's all good. Starter's just shut off. Go ahead and turn the boost pump to auto. Zoom in here, select auto. Turn on the electronic trim. Go ahead and turn on the nav lights as well at the same time. Lighting is making it hard for me to see, but those are all right there. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up into high idle. Then I can turn on the air conditioner. And I'll turn on the inertial separator as well. Gonna go ahead and load in the flight plan here. Okay, it's not. Oh, that's why it's not working. Alright. Yeah, let's go over to the next page. Press the cursor. And scroll to the KMO3, KSGF, that's it. Load that in. Inertial separator is on. So I can clear that warning. I was expecting that. Go ahead and zoom out a little bit here. That's in. Okay. I need one runway here, so I don't need that map. 30 miles, 50 miles. I'll go for 30. It's a very short flight today. Now on this flight, I'm going to go up to 9,000 feet. Go ahead and set that. I'm going to go ahead and set flaps to takeoff. Wind was 160, so I'll try taking off to the south, which means I'll taxi down to the other end of the runway. I'll turn the heading bug. Looks like it's about runway 19. Okay, come up here, turn on the taxi light now, and release the parking brake. We start our taxi, turn on the flight director, press the go around button to raise the flight director up so I can get the 10 degrees nose up on the flight director. Make sure I'm trimmed for takeoff. Need to cycle the prop twice on the first start of the day. So just bring it down to feather and then back up again. Feathering the prop, get some hot oil through the system, make sure it's all operating correctly. Hello Claw Phantom, thanks for the follow. And the second feather just there. Second cycle, everything's working well. And thanks for the host, Claw Phantom. Alright. Coming up on the end of this runway here. There's no special departure here, it's just going to be straight out to the south, and I'm not flying online or anything. Climb up to 9,000 feet. Turn on the pulse light and strobe light. And just complete the taxi off the runway. Off the taxiway. Alright. Now line up with the runway. Bring up the power. Onto the prop governor smoothly, then bring it up to 100% torque. And I've gone past 100. There we go. Power is set, 70 knots, 80 knots, rotate. Positive right, no runway remaining, gears coming up. You're from Australia? Me too. I don't sound like it though. In 10 knots, 200 feet flaps up and tracking. Go into heading mode. Now I'll start turning to the east here. And I'll arm GPS. And should have turned on the pitot heats before I took off. But better late than never. Yeah, so I'm from Australia, but I grew up in Papua New Guinea in a community of a lot of Americans, but there's also a combination of British and all sorts of other nationalities, so my accent's from who knows where. Now, I'm going to go into flight level change, set the speed to 124 knots. Aircraft will then pitch to maintain that. A little bit bumpy this morning. I say this morning just because the simulator's set up for a morning flight. $4,600. Torque's 86%. I'm going to wait for the torque to drop to 80% and then I'll turn off the inertial separator. So how are things going for you, Claw Phantom? I forgot to set the pressure earlier. 3037. 1,500 for 9,000. Torque is down to 80%, so I'll close the turn off the inertial separator. As that closes, the torque will go up and the ITT will go down. 1,000 feet to go, 8,000 for 9,000. And reduce the power slightly here to prevent it from over-torquing. Leveling off at 9,000. This is a very short flight, so I'm going to go ahead and start programming the approach. G'day, aye, Captain. How are you doing? Select not arrival or departure, select approach. I'm going to do RNAV 41, runway 14. There it is. Which transition is it using? Jogpoo. Now I need to activate that so it flies towards it. All good. I'm glad things are going well for you. I am doing a short flight in FSEconomy. I'll have to look up the actual name of the field. I'm in America at the moment and I'm not familiar with all of the names of the fields there, so go ahead and start the descent. 3,000. Vertical speed down. Issues? Is the stream giving you issues, is it? The field I'm going to is KSGF. I'm going to have to look it up, what it's actually. It's in Missouri in America. Springfield Branson National Airport. That's where I'm going. Thought you were going to say you're having issues. Ah! No, I'm just behind it a little bit because it's such a short flight and such a fast plane. And I'm way above the glide slope. Yeah, there's the airport.
Landing gear. Landing gear.
Oh, shut up. I don't like that warning. Keep the throttle just high enough that I don't get the warning. Now, if I go to flight level change, it'll descend even quicker. Back for 9 holes of golf. Left the sim going for 4 hours to Tahiti. Nice! So is that 4 hours still to go, or is that 4 hours that it was just running? Why the, are we there yet? Almost. Almost on the first leg. 4 hours gone, maybe 1.5 to go. Fair enough. Certainly a Good way of doing those longer flights. Sim Toolkit Pro told me to go to 9,000 feet for a flight that was going to take 5 minutes. Not sure why I decided to actually listen to it. Go into approach mode. Now I wait for the plane to slow down to slow enough that I can extend gear and flap. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing, Promise? Also, when I'm flying the TBM900 in X-Plane, it works fine. When I'm flying the A320 or the 737, I have frame rate issues. I had to set heading though, because International Dateline gave it a broken flight plan. That's annoying. I haven't tried doing one of those flights across the Dateline in the new sim. Low 178. Gears coming down, flaps to approach. Turn on the inertial separator again. Avoid sucking any birds into this aircraft engine. Looked it on air, but you refused to pay for it. That's so far the mentality I've had for it. I used to use FS Passengers. I paid for that, but that was a one-off thing. But they don't make that for X-Plane. Or even the new prepareds. Now, I want to set the torque to about 25% for the approach. Inertial separator is open, so I can clear the warning. It's a one-way point, just wanted to go west and around the globe and not continue east. That's annoying. It glitched out over the dateline. Unless there was a broken waypoint in there. That could be the other thing. Just wanted you to take the scenic route. That is true, the very scenic route. Unlimited fuel required. Connect the autopilot. Oh yeah, forgot to open this up. If it's gonna work. No, it's not gonna do it. Oh well, I'll have to figure out the landing prediction after this then. Back to flight idle.
Airspeed.
88 feet per minute. It's not bad. Reverse thrust. And I'm going to turn left up here. I assume I can turn, yeah, I can turn left here. Turn off the pitot heat. Turn off the pulse light and the strobe light. And I'm gonna turn, is it right here and then left maybe? Gotta take this plane to the maintenance hangar to get it fixed. Track the flaps. Oh, so that opens it up. Why didn't it work earlier? I gotta turn this off. Because I'm not, I've already landed. Fixed it, I break it. No, FSEconomy has a inbuilt system that just randomly gives you failures. well, randomly fails something on the aircraft. It doesn't actually fail it in the simulator, unfortunately, but it makes you pay to repair whatever it is. Suppose it's supposed to simulate wear and tear. In a way. This aircraft has so much power at idle that you taxi it around in the beta range. Just before reverse thrust, it goes to basically flat. Well, what is it? 0 pitch or something? So you have to run it around past the reverse thrust gate in order to taxi at any reasonable speed. Alright, stop. Set the parking brake. Clear the caution light. Turn off taxi light. Turn off the boost pump. Trims. Turn off the air conditioner as well. Did I turn that back into manual? Yeah, I did. Alright, yeah, you can go ahead and shut off. I mean, you should probably on the engine. Yeah, unfortunately it doesn't do that to you. As passengers used to. Open the door. And as soon as that inertial separator flap stops moving, I can turn off the power. Refund it. Oh, it's free, so... Right, turn off the power. I can finish the flight here. Now load up FSEconomy on my other computer and go into the system. Alright. Into the aircraft. And fix it. Yeah, perform the repair. So it cost $2,000 to do the repair. Alright. Now, I need to get the next flight ready. And I'll go ahead and show you what I'm doing here. And use there it is. Bring you down there. Put it up there. Alright, I'm going to Sim Toolkit Pro. We're already set up a schedule. Type in the aircraft. Call sign because it requires me to type something in there. Tell it to generate the plan. Alright. It's basically doing direct. Interesting. Approximately 40-minute flight. Yeah, what's that? 3.6. I'm going to do Yeah, I know for 3.6. Yeah, export this. Or X-plane. Then hit fly now. Now, what else is it saying? Flight level 250. Alright. Okay. I'll load that into active sky as well so I get the correct weather. Alright. Now, well, apparently I've got too much fuel on board to take one of my assignments. Ah well, they can stay here. Ready to go. Are we there yet? We're just starting. Go ahead and start the flight. Load all the passengers in. Thank you for the host, Primus NZ. Close the door. Turn on the electrics again. Wait for the garments to start up. Oops. What happened? Press the any key. Go up here. I can turn on the boost pump. Yeah, the gauges are up. Let's turn on the starter. Clear these warnings. Now, I've got to wait for the ITT to get below 150 and the NG above 13 in order to start the engine when it's warm. If I introduce the fuel with the ITT too high, it'll over-temp the thing. $150, 140, I'll introduce the fuel. Clear the warning.
System test. Okay.
All you heard from that was explosions. Is my mic peaking, is it? Try that. Right, started. Boost pump to auto, fuel select to auto, turn on the electric trims. Turn on the inertial separator. I just starting the engine over 150 and over temping. Yeah. This aircraft model for X-plane does simulate damage to the aircraft, and I forgot to bring the engine up to high idle before turning the air conditioner on. Now I can turn it on. It'll simulate damage to the compressors or turbine blades or who knows what. It's very detailed simulation. And you go in here and you look at the temperatures for the engine, and that's all of the temperatures and stresses that it's simulating. Even things like a starter body, it's got a temperature for. Alright, come down here and I need to load the flight plan in. I saved it out of the other one, KSGF KLIT. It's the one. And zoom out slightly. Now, what runways it got? Runway 14. Heading of 140 is set. I'm going to need some charts to find my way there. Set the flaps to their takeoff position. Set the trims to take off. There you go, rudder, trim, and takeoff. And pitch trimmer in the green. Alright, runway 14, yep, that's correct. Show me my charts for this airport. And bring up Navigraph charts here. There we go. And the taxi chart. I'll zoom in on that. Runway 14, it's the same one I landed on. Right, release the brakes. Taxi light is on. I've already cycled the prop for today. It only has to be done on the first flight of the day. Bring up the flight director to the 10 degrees nose up position. And I need to select flight level 250. I need to go down to the Delta taxiway to get across to runway 14. Flight level 250 is set. No ATC for today, so I can just clear myself all the way out. Are we VAT simming? No. And that's why I'm just clearing myself all the way up to flight level 250. I'm not on VAT sim or any other third-party air traffic control. And the default ATC in X-Plane is even worse than the default ATC in any of the other simulators, so... Right, clear left, clear right. Go ahead and turn on the strobe lights. I'm crossing a taxiway. I should use this aircraft on VATSIM more. Because I have a lot more stability in the way the sim runs when I use this one. It's not as complicated, even though it's simulating almost every system in the aircraft, so don't know how they manage that. Now the pressure for takeoff, 3039. Go ahead and make sure that's set. I'm going to take off from the hotel holding point. Gonna head off and see if you can finish this 5-hour flight. No worries, thanks for stopping by. And good luck with the landing. Alright. Turn left onto hotel, I'll turn on the pitot heat. Turn on the pulse light and strobe light. All clear on final. You just lost avionics. Oh, that's annoying. You had more than one glitch crossing the date line. Right, increasing the power. Bring it onto the prop governor smoothly. Then bring the torque up to 100. Hopefully while staying on the center line and not over torquing it. 20 knots, 80 knots, rotate. No available runway remaining, gear coming up. 200 feet, bring the flaps up and tracking. Slightly right, we're correcting. Now I want to climb out 124 knots. 124, flight level change engaged. And I'll engage nav mode as well. Let the aircraft fly its way to the destination. Close this. Get the map so you can actually see it. That map's not very useful when when it's basically sending me on a direct route. I might change it to this one. You know, landing without avionics is definitely a test. Are we there yet? 4,000 feet, flight level 250. I think it's got an estimated time thing up the top, doesn't it? Which is, what's this saying now? 1 hour 30. It'll be shorter than that. Till we stop for ice cream. I think we just picked up ice cream. Now, someone remind me when I'm starting the approach to start the landing competition. .124 knots, it's climbing nicely. Waiting for the torque to get down to below about 80% and then I'll turn off the inertial separator. Because as you turn off the inertial separator, the torque arises. So instead of having to reduce the power to keep it from over torquing, I tend to wait for the torque to drop to 80 and then turn off the inertial separator while it's climbing. Then I don't have to touch the power lever for as long. I can just leave it sitting for 10 minutes instead of moving it every 2 minutes. Might as well be talking another language. Yeah. I do nerd out about this stuff a bit. %. Turn off the inertial separator. The inertial separator is a flap in the air intake that makes it very hard for ice or stones or birds to get actually into the engine. They just fly out the back of the engine instead of going through the whole engine. But because it's affecting the air intake, then when it's on, the engine runs hotter and doesn't produce quite as much power. So when I turn it off, I have to be careful of what power setting I've set it to so I don't over torque it. How is he gonna make nuggets? They're very expensive nuggets. Sent it through a $700,000 engine or something? I'm not paying for that. 9,500. Go ahead and turn off taxi light and pulse light now. So you can turn on the noise cancelling headset. You should have seen the movie Sully. I haven't actually. I've seen clips of it, and I know what it's about. I haven't actually seen the whole movie. Not sure why, I just never gotten around to it. They hit the geese. Yeah, sounds good. I think I was gonna watch it with one of my friends, and then the moment when he's in another state and we can't watch it together yet. Something like that, I think. Double-ended bird strike, and then he landed in the Hudson River. The only passenger, or the only jet to have ever successfully ditched. And I accidentally over-torqued slightly. Look how sensitive my throttle quadrant is. Now, turn down the exterior sound a little bit, and then I can go into orbit view. It's only because the A320 is so computer controlled. Wouldn't necessarily steer as aggressive as he wanted. Could well be part of that, yeah. That's a whole can of beans, that computer controlled thing. Because in that case you can very clearly see that it helped. And you get another crash at an air show when the 320 first came out, and the pilot was blaming the system for it. But yeah, I think it really helped him on that one. Able to keep the plane within its tolerances while the pilot's asking it to do things that it might not necessarily be within its tolerance. Computers don't make mistakes, people do. Yes. Oh yeah, it was definitely pilot error on that one, but he ended up, he really didn't like the fact that when he asked the plane to pull up, it didn't and just flew straight into trees. If it had have pulled up, it probably would have stalled and gone into the ground just before the trees, but the sense of being disconnected and watching the trees coming towards you wouldn't have been nice for him. Is it giving me an estimated time dropping? Yeah, it is dropping. As the plane gets higher and higher and gets, well, the ground speed goes up as well. 168 knots at the moment. Increase the torque slightly. What's that? 92. Yeah, computers always do what they're told, don't they? Miss a semicolon and the entire program gets confused. $15,600 feet. I'll go to standard pressure now. We are climbing through the transition altitude. I'm doing INAV 36 at the arrival, I think. Yeah, it is. I'm going to go ahead and load into Navigraph. The arrival. No star procedures approach on nav for 3-6. Get out of do boxy. And no star procedures, it's alright. Wait, what's that? Backsy? Yeah, wherever they say that. I'm gonna bring this back to the aircraft. Go ahead and get this ready as well. Not gonna activate it yet though. And F36. Load. That level 215 for 250. Did you get to look into that shared cockpit a bit more, Primus? I haven't actually loaded it up with the simulator yet. I haven't launched the game since the last time I streamed it. Fair enough. No worries, I'll look into it sometime, I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I launched the game to have a look at the FMC on the fly-by-wire A320, but I didn't actually load up the shared cockpit and everything. So aircraft like this that keep me in X-plane at the moment still. It's the quality of the aircraft. The scenery is a lot better in the other one, but the aircraft, the add-on developers haven't made the same aircraft for it yet. They're working on it, but they haven't made the higher quality aircraft, so it kind of keeps me in the simulators I've already got, where I've got those aircraft for now, and then we'll move over as I get them in the other sim. Alright, it's leveling out at flight level 250. Just gonna watch the torque as it levels out. Make sure it doesn't over torque. Now I'll go ahead and put an altitude in here to make sure I've got it calculating top of descent for me. Well, now I need. That's all approach here. It's 2,800 feet. interesting altitude it wants to select, but go ahead and do that. It'll give me a rough top of descent. 6 minutes. Not a very long flight, is it? It's longer than the other one was, though. What's the time? 6 minutes, so it'll be 5:08 when I have to get back in and start the descent. Got a nice lake off the left there. Interesting sound dynamics. I hadn't actually noticed it goes almost silent when it's behind and below the aircraft. What speed are we actually doing at the moment? Got 300 knots ground speed. Tell you what, promise, when we stop at the next airport, you can get your ice cream. Get it ordered and delivered to the airport. Sure. It's another relatively large airport, so there should be a passenger terminal. I haven't actually looked at the chart for it yet. Open charts. Taxi. Door info. Alright, where's the best spot to park? Only 3-6, we'll park up here somewhere. FBOs are down here. Alright, so about halfway back. Pull into one of these FBOs. Patch of grass. Fair enough. We gotta drop the passengers off and pick up the other passengers that are getting on the plane now, so... Passengers can just jump the fence. Well, FSEconomy will let me offload and load passengers without shutting off the engine, so... Alright. Coming up on top of descent within a minute. Go ahead and set... I think it was actually 3,000. Yeah, 3,300 is where I want to go to. For the start of the approach, so I'm going to set 3,300. Jump to the fence, I was more thinking, well, wasn't it opening the door and checking them out? Well, altitude. Parachute out of a pressurized aircraft. There's an idea. Activate VNav path so it can capture and start the descent for me. But I don't have auto throttle in this aircraft, so I'll reduce the power. That'll do. Didn't think about parachutes. Well, nowadays you got aircraft that have entire airframe parachutes on them. What are my conditions for the arrival? No wind. Pressure 3049. Okay. Spamming caps. Wow. I'm surprised it was upset about that. I would have thought it'd take like 50 caps before it timed somebody out. No parachutes. Where are the settings here? Yeah, the maximum amount of caps is 50. Oh, but it's got a percentage on then. Hang on. Okay, I think that should fix it. It had a percentage of capital letters, so if you did all capital letters, then it would be upset, even though it's less than 50 capital letters. Hopefully that's fixed it. Yeah. Backwards. The boss is discriminating against biologicals. Yeah, seems like it. It's altered its settings. Also, I couldn't figure out how to whitelist a word, so I'm not sure if it was going to complain about the Airbus commands to the pilot when you land. It's got a blacklist, it doesn't have a whitelist. It does complain about it. That's funny. Why does it not have a blacklist? Not have a whitelist? can just turn off the default blacklist. There we go. And then I'll have to add words to it as they come up. I'm gonna have to see if there's someone's put in a suggestion for that so they can add a whitelist to it. There you go. Go ahead and activate the approach now that the aircraft start flying towards its initial fix. It'll also adjust its vertical path to the new point at the start of the approach. We are back, no worries. Coming back down through 18,000 feet, 30.49. Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 50. 30.49. There we go. On the pressure. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and get the taxi diagram pinned so I can open it quickly. There we go. Make sure I reduce the power as it's descending. Don't want to over torque it. I'll leave that on the current zoom level for now. Interesting, so it deleted all of the messages, not just the one. Interesting reflection. Our approach course is 002. Minimum descent altitude of 760 feet. We're only doing 50 knots, I don't want to go quite that fast. Use the power a bit more, I'll go to 65 or so. Just approach, climbing right turn, 2700 direct, high 5. And then hold. Alright, I'll go ahead and open up the landing prediction. There you go. 92 feet a minute. Well, based on the last one, that might be a good guess. Who knows? We'll see how we go on this one. In general, I land this plane better than a 737 though, so... Alright. So we're coming up to Baxi. I want to be there at 3,300. 3,300 at FEC. However you want to say that. FEHXE. We're descending 2,000 to Cagby and then flying the wide slope down to the field. Minimum 760, 4002, and missed approach, climbing right turn to 2,700 feet, direct high 5, which is up here. And then hold there. Zoom in on the GPS a little bit. All right. We have 5,300 feet. Got to bring the torque back to about 40%. Let the aircraft start slowing down. And I'll turn on the inertial separator as well. Right. And almost a caution for the inertial separator. I was expecting that, so we'll go ahead and clear it. Sending to 5,000 feet. Clear left. Plane will commence its turn shortly. There we go.
Vertical track.
1,000 feet to go. The airport's up there somewhere. Can't actually see it right now. And coming up on 3,300 feet at whatever how are you supposed to say that? Yeah, it's interesting. It's actually brought up the glide path indicator, so I'll just arm the approach and let it fly down that. Yeah, the course for this is 002, so I'll go ahead and set that on the heading. If I stay at 40% torque, the aircraft will slow down just nicely under the gear and flap speed. It's already under. And I should have turned on the pulse light and taxi light earlier. Yeah, well, I'll turn them on now. Waiting for the glide slope to come alive. There we go, it's alive. 2 dots above. 1 dot above, I'll extend the gear and the approach flaps. 1 dot above, below 178, gear coming down, approach flaps set. Starting to capture the glide slope, reduce the power to 25% torque. Where's the runway? There it is. We're going to be turning left off the runway to head to the FBO. Alright, how's the airspeed doing? 134 knots. And reducing. I want to stay at 25 or just under % on the power. Turn up the sound again. "92 feet per minute. Let's see how we go. "2,000 feet. Oh, it's actually got a radar altitude here. 1,550 on the radar altitude. What's the wind doing? Yeah, it's 0. $122 knots. So 120 shortly. But 120 going to landing flaps. Let the aircraft adjust to that. $100 knots. So minimums was 760 feet. 100. Yeah, I've got visual with the runway anyway. Alright. Just disconnect the autopilot. And I'll fly it in myself. And I'll turn off the flight director. Got some trees on the approach path. Interesting. Managed to stay on the glide slope even though we're dodging trees, okay. And coming over the threshold, back to flight idle.
Airspeed. Getting slow.
54 feet a minute. That's even better. Reverse thrust. Yeah, we'll turn off to the left here. And then I better bring up my ground map. There we go. So if we go to the right, go ahead and turn off the strobe light and the pulse light. Don't need that. Retract the flaps. Turn off the pitot heat. It was close. What do you guess? What was it? 38 feet per minute off. So, supposedly that big hangar there is an FBO. Oh no, not that one. This one. Oh, it looks more like an FBO than the other one did. Okay, that King Air's tail is very close to this line, so I'm going out this way. Stop looking at the light switches. There we go. I'll just park here, set the parking brake, clear the warning. Fuel light off, turn off the boost pump, turn off the auto fuel selector. Clear the warnings that come up from that, turn off the air conditioner. And I'll turn off the inertia separator and shut off the engine. And clear all of the continued warnings. Alright. Turn off the electrics. Now I'll go ahead and open up the passenger and cargo doors. And then finish the flight, let the passengers off. There we go, now you can go get your ice cream. Fair enough. For that flight, I'll get the aircraft ready to go back. Schedule. Third leg for the day. Which is going to be the reverse of the flight that I just flew. Building all the maps. There we go. Go for the R914 again. Export that for X-Plane. Fly now, so it updates all of the overlays and everything. Priorities. Yeah, fair enough. On. So you got your, let's see. Hey, there we go. Get your points for the landing prediction. Now, gonna load. Winning. Fair enough. I'm down 680. I think there's a heist that it'll let you do. I'm gonna work out what modules have I turned on? There's a heist, gamble, slots, or duel. If you want to play around with those and the points. Yeah, it is only really fun with multiple people. Same with duel. Alright. Now I'll go ahead and actually I've got to set Navigraph up for my return flight. You didn't grab that one. I'm going to go for the R914 again. Alright, it will be landing. Yep, that works for me. That approach. Right, that. Come back to my aircraft here. Oh, where'd my chart go? I need to bring my chart up again. This one. There we go. But yeah. Okay. me see how it goes. Haha, nice. How much did you win? Doesn't say how much you won. Gonna have to look into that. Make it say how much you won. Alright, I'm gonna start the flight, load all the passengers in. What? 1608? So you got no points? That doesn't make sense. There you go. Oh, whoops. There, that's better. Why did it give you no points? Okay, that's it. Gotta figure this thing out. Jewel. That's weird. Should have given you points for that. Unless it just doesn't like you dueling the broadcaster. Oh, that's what it is. I think you have to put... okay. Yeah, you have to put some points on there as well. That's why it didn't give you any points. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the aircraft. I might close the doors manually this time. Show off this aircraft a bit more. Yep, that one just closed. Oh, what? Come back to the back of the plane. Press and hold the button. And it rolls the door down. And once it's down, I can press the latch and close the door. And then the final door. Oh, I won that duel. Haha! Rigged. Right, you got 200 points earlier from the duel. Come on, Garmin, you can start up. Right, go into that. Press the any key. Everybody I know presses the right button there. Or enter. It's the only two buttons that anyone ever presses. Alright, turn on the boost pump, starter. Engine's still very hot, yeah, I know. Wait for the ITT to drop. So we need 160, 50. Go ahead and start it up. Introduce the fuel.
Okay.
There we go. All started up. Switch all these to auto, turn on the electric trim again. Turn on the inertial separator. Bring it up to high idle so I can turn on the air conditioner. Flaps for takeoff, set the trims for takeoff. And down here and load the flight plan. There we go. Load it in, zoom out a little bit. Load the flight plan into active sky as well. Alright. Now, taxi back for runway 36. Yeah, I'll fit through here. And on the taxi light. Bring this back into the taxi range. So did you bring any ice cream onto the aircraft to share? Or did you keep it all to yourself? Wait, now, shoot, it says flight level 260, but last time I wasn't at cruise for very long, so I'll go to flight level 240 instead. Give us a slightly longer cruise. Yeah, I'll take off from this taxiway just here. Holding point Lima. Strobe lights on, pulse lights on. Heat on. Introduce the power. So on the prop governor, bring the torque up. Set for takeoff, 70 knots. 80 knots rotate. No sufficient runway remaining, or insufficient runway remaining, gear coming up. 200 feet, flaps up. Just get to 124 knots again. Flight level change, go ahead and activate nav mode, or arm it. Now commence the right hand turn. I'm gonna go ahead and go into the GPS, say direct SICOD direct. Enter. There we go. Avoid flying a loop around the top of the airport. Alright, 3,300 feet. Climbing for 240. This isn't using any of the airways again, it's just going direct. %85%. Turn on the noise cancelling headphones. I'll go ahead and turn off the inertial separator now. $1,900 off post light and taxi light. Make sure the torque stays near 100 during the climb. 12,000 feet for flight level 240. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to standard. Alright, go ahead and get my approach and arrival and taxi chart ready. And pin that one, and pin this one. That way the charts are ready to be picked up easily. So I don't have any ATC, I'm gonna go ahead and activate the approach now. Just start tracking directly for the initial approach fix. Enter 1F14 Ozark. Yeah, activate that one. Increase the power again slightly at level 160 for flight level 240. It's gone quiet in chat. I think everyone must be too busy eating their ice cream. All right. What have we got? 55 minutes left, that'll come down as the aircraft levels off. Yeah, 153 knots at the moment, but it'll go up to about 300 knots when I start cruising. That was a weird audio effect. Never had to do that before. A couple lakes and rivers in the scenery we're flying over. Continuing the climb. What are we at? Level 225. 240. Stay inside the cab for now so I can monitor the engine as it levels out. Make sure I don't accidentally over torque it. $1,000 feet to go. Flight level 230 for 240. 500 feet to go. And leveling at flight level 240. Yeah, that's when the speed's really going to increase. Interesting, it's not supposed to be completely muting it. And that slider's doing nothing. Well, I'll let this one play out and then I'll just leave it off. It's too loud. Increase the power a little bit because at this altitude its cruise power is 100%. Alright, we got 25 minutes to go. Where's top of descent? 12 minutes till top of descent. Okay. Audio is just being a little bit weird there. I was wondering if the engine was overheating or something. All right. Why is the audio doing some weird things now? I tried going back into the flight deck and seeing whether it keeps doing weird things. Alright. Then we have another 7 minutes or so to go. 9 minutes to go to top of descent. Alright. I guess I might as well brief the arrival. Open up the chart. We're currently flying for Ozark. I'm going to be there at 3,000 or above till Jogpoo, and then 2,900 to Zeta, and then the glide slope down to runway 14. Final approach course is 139. Decision altitude is 1,508 feet. Yeah, missed approach. Compressed RIV knife systems. Not authorized below minus 21 degrees Celsius. That's not missed approach. That's note. Missed approach. Climb to 3,000 direct. Raise that and hold. Get straight down the runway. Alright. Simple enough. And the plane will fly most of it anyway. There we go, put the overlay onto the map so I can see it while I'm flying the approach. See if it works without the audio being glitchy now. Oh, that much pretty terrain around here. It's pretty flat. Right. We've got 3 minutes to top of descent. Go ahead and set the first altitude here. Just so it's all ready to go. 3,000 feet. .3,000 feet is set. What am I doing? I'm heading into a headwind. That's why the flight back seems slightly slower. Pressurization is all working fine. Gonna be a little bit late to check by now, but alright. Everything's all ready for the approach.
Vertical track.
Alright, 1 minute to top of descent. Go ahead and activate RMV nav, so it'll capture and start descending by itself. Alright, and reduce the power a little bit. Aircraft doesn't have auto throttle. Captured the vertical path. Now it'll fly to descent. And it should turn on the landing prediction by itself at 5 minutes to go before landing. Got a little lake off the wing. Yeah. Actually, 19,000. Get the weather for the destination here. And 50 at 13 knots. Pressure 3038. I'll go ahead and change the pressure now. 30.38. I have a headwind of 13 knots. It's acceptable for the approach. Guess the runway's over there somewhere. And get in the landing predictions now. Exclamation mark predict, and then your estimate of my landing prediction in feet per minute. There's the airport. Maybe. Doesn't quite look right. Landing through 14,000 feet. I'll go ahead and turn on the pulse lights. And the taxi light now. And keeping the speed up a little bit. And get to the approach as quick as we can. "1,000 feet. Reduce the power a little bit. I don't want to go above 250 knots below 10,000 feet. Below 10,000 feet. Three minutes to go to the initial approach fix. When you get in your predictions, type !! predict, and then how far hard you think my landing's gonna be. "240 knots and climbing slowly. Reduce the power slightly. Keep it below 250. Coming up on Ozark. Be right turn for Jogpoo. Yeah, keep the speed up, and now once we've done the right turn, I'll reduce the power and let the plane slow down at Jogpoo. We can start thinking about gear, etc. being within acceptable approach speed for when we need to deploy gear. Yeah, turning over Jogpoo. Go ahead and reduce the power now to about 40%. Aircraft is slowing down nicely. We'll be at 3,000 feet at Jogpoo. We're on the vertical descent path.
Vertical track.
Go ahead and turn on the inertial separator now. Takes about 30 seconds for it to go. The flap to fully move. There you go, now it's on. Clear the warning, I was expecting that warning. The glide path has come up, so I will arm the approach. The aircraft capture the glide path and fly it down to the runway. Got a bit of a right crosswind at the moment. Hopefully that crosswind dies down a bit before we actually land. So we're expected to have 160 wind at 14 knots. Well, 160 would be straight down the runway. We're currently seeing a right crosswind of 32 knots. So this could be an interesting landing. And 1 dot above on the glide slope. Landing gear coming down. Speed was checked below 178. Flaps extending to approach flaps. Captured the glide slope, reducing the torque to 25%. Below 120. And we are stabilized. Continuing down the approach. (870 feet on the radar altitude). I'll go for landing flaps. About 500 feet. Okay, apparently it wasn't going to tell me about it. Normally it does, but I disengage the autopilot. I'm going to fly it in myself. Turn off flight director. Now what have we got for wind? Yep, it has changed to what it should be. Almost straight down the runway at 14 knots. Not quite straight down the runway, so it'll be a little bit of left rudder, right aileron. But only a little bit of crosswind correction. And coming over the threshold, back to flight idle. The left rudder, right aileron. And touchdown. 349, that was a rough landing. Compared to my other two. You go ahead and get off at this taxiway here. Turn off the pitot heat. Turn off the strobe and pulse lights. Retract the flaps. And go ahead and taxi in to the hangar, and then I'll park it up and shut down. And go ahead and turn off fuel pump, the auto fuel select as well. Just getting the aircraft ready to shut down when I get to the bay. Turn left here. I'm just going to park it up next to these buildings here, and then we'll let the passengers off. Turn off the taxi lights so we don't blind anyone. And I'll park it up nicely here. That'll do. Set the parking brake and shut off. Alright, thanks for joining in. Go ahead and finish the FSEconomy flight. Thanks for joining in. I will send everybody over to Aye Aye Captain. It looks like he's flying a A320 again in MSFS. So go say hello. And thanks for joining in. Go ahead and play the credits. If they'll play. Thanks for the follow, Claw Phantom, and thanks for the host, Claw Phantom and Primus and Zed. I'll let you guys go. Enjoy Aye Aye Captain stream.